Good afternoon and welcome to the Dreambox How to Leverage Virtual Reality at Your Next Event webinar. My name is Rodney and I will be taking you through this webinar. If you found it live, thank you for joining us. If you found it recorded, thank you for finding it. I hope this webinar will be helpful at planning your next event. So, on this webinar, we're going to showcase various ways on how you can leverage VR for your next event. And depending on the event or the theme, we'll show you how to achieve your goals, whether it's foot traffic or lead generation, whether it's for a company you work for, a company you own, or your client. We'll give you activation best practices, what works, what doesn't work, and what we've learned from the beginning since we started this VR journey. At the end, we're going to answer any questions you may have. So if you have a question as we're going through this webinar, just put it in the chat box on your right and type it out and we will discuss it at the end of this webinar. If you're watching it recorded and still have a question, just go ahead and please feel free to email us at hello@dreambox.co.zw. So a quick word about us. We are Dreambox. And I am Roddy Masanga, the founder and creative director of Dreambox, and I'll be going through this webinar with you. We've been on the scene for almost 9 years, and the VR scene we started in 2017. Basically, we are leaders. We've worked with a lot of corporates, NGOs, and governments. And in particular, VR, we've worked with the Ministry of Industry and Commerce, Zimnat, and Econet. So we do know what we are doing. We are trusted by all these corporates, and we've been there and we've done that. And we've learned through experience, gone through all the pain in the early days to figure out what you need to do to create consistent success with VR in your events. We know how to deal with corporates, NGOs, and government. We've been dealing with them for a long time, internationally as well. And we've got the newest and best technologies. So we really do know what we're doing. You're in safe hands. And there's a reason why we lead is because we take a special approach to what we do. We realize that most clients are not VR experts, and it is a relatively new technology. They've never brought it to an event, but they want to get it right on the first go. Either the job is on the line, or they want to make the bosses happy and the clients happy, and they want an amazing experience for their attendees. So we take a very consultative approach where we help with the event and are the VR nerds on the ground on the days of the actual event. We're happy to help with anything and we want to be by your side all the time. And we can play as big a role as you want us to play. If you want us to join meetings, we will be there. Or if you just want a simple back and forth via email, text, or WhatsApp, we're there to help you and consult all the way through to make sure that your event is a success and you look good and the event goes through with no hitch whatsoever. We focus particularly on corporates, government, and NGOs. It's because we know that they are, or you are, a different beast, and it takes a specific type of skills, and there are specific expectations at that event. So we have to match that, and we've been steadily over the years building up or training ourselves to match expectations of corporates, clients, as well as NGOs and governments. We are proven, we've been trusted by big names at big events, and we've worked out all the kinks so that we're here now to help make your next event a success. In a nutshell, we make it easy, and we're here to make sure, as VR is the newest and coolest thing that you can have at your event, we want you to stand out and achieve your goals. So let's go ahead and check out the three most popular types of events. We're going to go into corporate parties, trade show or conference booths, as well as team building corporate events. With parties, there are all sorts of examples, and whether it is your employee engagement or internal launches, networking events, and happy hours, which are usually based around conferences themselves, we can take care of that. So if your industry has a big conference and you want us to come in and help drive people in from that conference and into your networking events, thus generating leads and conversations can be started. We'll use VR and leverage it to create that experience that draws people in. Or even if you just want to host a happy hour at your company, whether you're a marketing firm or law firm that just wants people to come into your location or your offices to further relationships and generate leads or business, we can be there for you. We can even go on to create a VIP experience, whether it's at a conference or a trade show or even at a festival where you want to add value. We'll be there to help you do that. And lastly, if you want to create your customer appreciation events or launch events, we will be there to help leverage that virtual reality to your party. These are examples of things that actually can leverage VR and show that you are a tech forward company or a fun company to work with and you're on the cutting edge. So what we're saying here is VR is not just cool or fun, but they're real tangible business benefits that actually increase attendance to your event. So what we can do is drive a sense of FOMO or fear of missing out because this is a new technology. Many people have not tried it and they want to be the first ones to do this. And they want to go back to their friends and brag about it. So we can leverage that fear of missing out to increase attendance. What we can also do with VR is increase your brand awareness. Depending on how your goals stack up, we can build in physical takeaways or social sharing, where we can build signage, building a competition to the experience, so that people keep coming back to your booth again and again, year after year. And this creates an increased perceived value. If we're talking about VIP experiences where people have to pay extra, we can come in and increase that value dramatically. So if you're looking to increase your revenue, this is one way to have a strong return on investment. And what it also does is it creates a shared experience. It gets people talking. People want to share about this experience time and time again. And it is a perfect icebreaker for people in the same industry who work for the same clients, company, or have the same client base. People will be like, hey, if we tried the VR experience, wow, that was something awesome. And they want to share that event. And in some instances, they actually want to relive that event. So we cater for that by creating 360 photos of that 360 VR moment where a person can view it on their phone and actually rotate and see what was around me in that 360 environment. Or we can have a photo booth or picture or photographer who comes and takes pictures as the people are experiencing it, and people are sent those photos after the event or on the day of the event, whichever. So what we want to do is we want to position our clients, be it corporates, NGOs, or governments, as fun and cutting edge. These two things are very important in that they can help differentiate yourself or your client from their competition. It goes on about how you're going to look different, how you're going to be different, and how you're going to act different. So that when a prospect or a customer thinks about you or your organization, they're positioning you as a fun, cutting edge company that is fun to work with, that has soul, that has character, and always has services that are new, fresh, or cutting edge, delivering the latest and greatest. So as we're going through this webinar and you're thinking about all the different themes that you'd like to explore for your corporate party, just remember that we cover everything. These are just some of the examples of popular experiences that we have, whether your theme is travel, fitness or well-being, or sport, almost anything you can think of, we probably have it or can create it. We have hundreds of different VR experiences to choose from, whether it's music, we got Beat Saber, whether it's a horror experience, whether it's creative arts, we can cover all those experiences. I know hundreds sounds like a lot, but don't worry, we won't give you a lesson, just throw it at you and say take your pick. But what we'll do is we'll sit down with you and your team and understand your event and then propose the experiences. We'll come to you and be like, hey, here are 4 experiences we think will kill it at your event based on what you have told us. And we can go back and forth until we land on something everyone is excited about, whether it's superhero experiences, flying in a plane, or even going out in space. We have it, or we can create it just for you. So the next type of event we're going to cover is booths. We're going to touch on trade shows, conference booths, exhibit booths, or recruiting booths. Basically, anything where you're trying to draw people in a confined space towards you and away from somebody else or your competition. What we want to do is help you create that magnet that draws people towards your booth, to differentiate your brand and to help people start talking about you virally. You want that word of mouth spreading virally throughout the conference or trade show, where people can be like, oh, have you seen that cool booth? Oh, yeah, you really have to go there and try it out. Now, what you want is to see more foot traffic come to your booth as compared to previous events. So your benefits are pretty clear. You've got your increased foot traffic. We've spoken about most of these other benefits before with parties. You've got increased brand awareness, social sharing, increased lead generation, shared experiences where people are talking about you virally. And you've got your positioning whereby you're a fun, cutting edge company to work with. So, as you think about your own company or your clients, what benefits resonate with you? And how does that make sense for your own event strategy? Here's an example of a trade show VR experience we created for Zimnat Insurance. Again, they wanted to differentiate themselves, and none of their major competitors did anything like what we did for them. The competitors did not have a crowd of people waiting or lining up to experience this VR experience. They did not have people coming back day after day to experience VR. They just had TVs, really. But what we created for Zimnat was this magnet that kept people coming back, that kept people talking about Zimnat. So again, this is positioning for Zimnat as a fun, forward-thinking insurance company that's cutting edge. What it also leads to is conversations being generated as people are watching and waiting for that experience. So as you're thinking of your lead generation, perhaps you might want to place terms on that VR experience you're offering, like information in exchange of that VR experience. This is a great way to capture people's information and follow up after the event. The form just has to be brief, of course. You're offering them an experience they've probably never tried before, as opposed to just filling out a form of information just because you asked them. In addition, we also have multi-day packages, whereby there's a new VR experience each day. For example, you want to continually drive foot traffic to your booth every single day. You want to create buzz. You want to create competition. What we will do is we'll create a new VR activation each day. Monday can be dancing, Tuesday can be boxing, Wednesday can be basketball. These are just sport themes, of course, and we do offer hundreds of other themes as mentioned earlier. The goal is to differentiate the experience day by day so that people keep coming. This adds to the value of the experience without adding to the cost. We do this at no extra charge. What we want you to do is to focus on making sure that your event is a success and your attendees are having a blast. So as we're going through this, you're probably wondering, how much space do I actually need for this VR experience? Well, you can go as small as 1.5 meters by 1.5 meters. And after you consult us, we can tell you what technologies or experiences will work depending on the space you have. I mean, just reach out to us at hello@dreambox.co.zw. And we have solutions that will fit all sorts of sizes and spaces as long as they're starting from 1.5 meters by 1.5 meters. Our solutions are there to help you meet your event goals. So we want to work with you within your limitations. You have other things that you want to put into that booth, and this might not even be the primary thing, it's a secondary thing. So we can work around and make sure that this VR works and accomplishes your event goals. Lastly, what we're going to go through is team building events. So it can be team-wide events to kick off the holidays, or it can be offsite events where you want to get your people outside the offices so that they can come and get to know each other a bit better and blow off a little steam. Or it can be quarterly events for departments, training camps and the like. Again, going through the rope courses of Younger is fun. I like those. But this is something different. So you want to keep it fresh. You want to keep people from potentially rolling their eyes when they hear that there's a next corporate event. It's like, no, we've got a corporate retreat, but this time it's got virtual reality experiences. It's going to be fun, it's going to be new, and it's going to be different. So the benefits of these are going to be increased participation at your retreats. Maybe fewer people making excuses about why they cannot come. You're going to have shared experiences, getting people coming together and working together, increased culture building awareness, social sharing. People are going to be wanting to take selfies of each other during their VR experiences. And of course, it's going to position your company as a company that's fun to work for and that's cutting edge. There's so many experiences to share. For example, there's a multiplayer bomb defusal experience where the person with the headset is defusing a virtual bomb. It's called Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. It's for those talkative people in your company who just want to go on and on. What happens with this virtual reality experience is that the person in the virtual reality headset can see the room they're in, where there's a bomb in front of them with a timer and it's counting down. And that person's team sits around him but facing away from the TV screen. And they have the bomb diffusal manuals, and they're talking to this individual with the headset to help him defuse the bomb. They can't see the bomb, he can't see the manual, and they have to work together to try defuse the bomb. It's a really fun experience with lots of interaction and lots to figure out. There are also other experiences, of course, like paintball, facing your fears. These are experiences that'll get people talking, people interacting, and forming timeless bonds. So as you can see, there's just so much to unpack when it comes to VR and your next event. So you might actually need specifics. And fortunately for you, we've created an ultimate VR guide for your corporate events, which is available if you just go to vr.dreambox.co.zw. Now, what this guide does is it answers certain questions that you might have, like which VR experiences to incorporate VR and why, which VR technologies are on the market, and it answers your frequently asked questions, questions that you may have right now or you might think of later. We've included them in that guide, and also how to generate leads with VR. So again, if you want to download that, just go to vr.dreambox.co.zw. And of course, you can always request a strategy session. Just reach out to us at hello@dreambox.co.zw. From there, you'll be able to schedule a time with any one of our VR experts, and they can actually sit down and try and understand what events you have coming up and try to tailor our services to your needs. Maybe you've got a specific need or a specific request or logistical issues that you want us to help solve. We can help solve those and help figure out what's the best way to bring virtual reality to your event. And this brings us to the end of our webinar. Thank you. You've been a great audience. I can see the questions that are already piled up in the little chat box here. If you found us on the webinar, I want to thank you for joining us. We'll be having our Q&A shortly. And if you found us on the recorded webinar, thanks for finding us. Thanks for being interested in VR or bringing VR technology and VR activation to your event. We love what we do, and hopefully we'll get the chance to do it for you soon. Cheers. Have a good day.